Well, I decided to continue this talk because it's like playing video games. So you think that's the last game, no more. But then you play the last game and you think, well, I would like to play one more, and then one more, and then 16 hours has gone and you still are playing and you missed the time for sleep. It's already morning. The same here. I think it's the same structure, like narrow structure, which takes control over this activity, like in my imagination. So the idea is that, like for me, every walking and talking is like a little game. So it's like chess, or maybe a game in StarCraft or Warcraft, and it's much more meaningful because in video games, like you basically have the same, the same activity. You do the same thing all the time. For example, you play StarCraft, so there's a race, you pick up a race, and then you develop some, army, some economy, and then you attack your enemy, and then that's all. Or your enemy attacks you and kills you, and that's all. But basically just 30 minutes and you do the same thing. So you build the same units, you build the same barracks or factories or buildings, and you just learn how to do it faster every time. And the faster you can do it, the better you understand the dynamics of the game, when to attack, when to protect, what to do, like depending on what your opponent is doing. So the better you play. But on average, like the same in Warcraft as well. So on average, I've played like a couple of thousand games in Warcraft. It was more than 15 years ago. Well, it's exactly 15 years ago, 2005. 2005, I guess it started at 2004. But the point is that I played a couple of thousand games, and it's like it's just one and the same game. It doesn't lead you anywhere. So you just play better and better. Well, it leads you to the point when you play with better opponents, and eventually I was able to play with, with the best opponents. At some, like on Europe, there was a Battle.net, and on Europe I played with the best players because I was in 100 top players on this Europe server. And well, but it's the same game, the same rules, and you do the same, but every time you do it a little bit better. Whereas when I do walking and talking, it's always different, because I think, oh, okay, there's something I can talk about, whatever it may be, like some idea, or I just can develop my train of thoughts, or I can just think about nothing. Yeah, that's the main thing. So you start thinking, there's no point, I don't need to pick up any topic, I just turn on the camera and start talking to myself. And there's some goals, like developing your language, doing introspection, self-analysis, so you understand yourself better, you understand what you are doing, why you are doing this. And it also brings lots of positive emotions, because when you start doing walking and talking, and when you realize how it works, it's always positive. It's like playing the game. See, when you play, why do you play? For example, when I ask myself, why did I play this damn StarCraft or Warcraft or even chess recently? So it doesn't make any sense. I'm doing it because I like it, and I like it because it helps me to exercise my whatever power, my skills, my whatever it may be. Just it makes me feel good. I do it. I'm doing it. I like it, and there is no any meaning, because it's completely meaningless. I don't do it on any purpose, just for fun. And walking and talking, it's almost the same. So it's like it brings the same emotions. I'm not doing it for any reason. I do it for fun. I like it, but besides, I also have lots of advantages for doing this exercise, because I see there's, first of all, it helps me understand language better, it improves my linguistic skills tremendously, because since I started doing like not walking and talking but just self-talk, since I started doing it, it's like all my language is developed basically by this exercise. So why I so successful at Speaking Club, for example, why it's so easy for me to to gather up all these people who come to Speaking Club and to make good conversations, because I practice self-talk and I know how to talk, like not just some meaningless shit, because of course I know when I'm saying some meaningless shit, and it's like 90% of the time, but other 10%, and it's a lot, it's like it's not meaningless, it's always something interesting. I know how to manage all of this, and I know exactly, because I'm doing walking and talking, like or self-talk or self-analysis, because it makes me understand myself better, and it also helps me to understand the language and just use the language. And it also gives me lots of motivation for studying and learning, because if I'm in this state when I tell myself that I need to do walking and talking or self-talk or writing every day, like when I have no way to escape it, like, well, maybe bad or good, I mean the result. I don't care about results. It's like 1 page a day, or like one self-talk a day for 10-15 minutes, for 5 minutes at least. And then just I'm continue doing that, and I see, okay, it doesn't work well, but I can do it better next time. And what should I do to do it better next time? Just maybe studying something, maybe studying language, maybe watching some videos. And well, yeah, it makes me so excited, and it makes me like restless. I like to study all this stuff, but again, at least at this point it leads to mental exhaustion, and that's the real problem, which I haven't had when I was working in my Russian language, because well, maybe I had it, but I haven't noticed it, because when I was working on Russian language, it felt pretty amazing for months. Like I could do, like, well, let's say idealistic day, or yeah, it's like basically I worked on my schedule, and I could schedule my time for months. I could say, okay, like next month I'm working on this and that, and I'm doing like daily writing. I also doing daily self-talk and self-analysis, and also use a tape recorder. And it's like so much output, and also input, of course, reading books, like 100 pages a day wasn't a big, issue for me at that time. And I could maintain this, I called them like rises, or ways up and ways down. There also were ways down, but my ways up, they were ongoing for half a year or sometimes longer, and it's all recorded in my journals, in my Russian journals, and like it's so amazing. And well, after a month I know how it feels when you do it for a month. It feels absolutely different from what's going on at the beginning, and well, it's like to have some, I don't know. Okay, it doesn't matter. So the point is that in Russian language I didn't have these problems, but in English, again, there are some problems. I need to solve them. I don't know how. Maybe I need just make longest breaks, longer breaks. For example, I can just shift to Russian and think in Russian and write in Russian and talk as well. Or I can just see self-talk and writing and just read books or whatever. But the problem is, one problem is the game and Speaking Club, because well, it's difficult to stop writing there because I'm playing the game, and well, it seems weak. Like, well, I know that I shouldn't care too much, but the point is that since I started this game and since I'm writing in these journals, it will be not so, you know, good just to quit the game or to, you know, get out of the game by some, you know, excuse saying that, oh, I have some mental exhaustion. Because, by the way, I can't, you know, just wait for a few days. The point is, yeah, exactly. It's like the problem isn't that I have this bloody tinnitus and I can't control it. I can control it. I can cease walking and talking. I can cease writing for a couple of days, and it disappears, and I don't care. But the problem is that I can't develop a longer, you know, these sequences. So I can't, for example, do the same what I have done when I worked in my Russian language. So I can just focus on learning for a month or for half a year. So it always just, you know, it always becomes it stops working after a couple of weeks or after a month. Well, in better times it stops working after a month and after 50 days, let's say. Yeah, but I would like to see how it works for, you know, 500 days. That's the point, and that's what makes me, you know, anxious, because I see that I can do that for half a year, and I know what I can get if I'm doing it for half a year, and it's something absolutely incredible, something magic, and and I can't do that because no, just few days is not enough. I need to have a long rest, like a month, or maybe even more than a month. And by rest I mean, of course, like absolute rest, not just, you know, ceasing self-talk and writing and all this stuff. Maybe doing some work. Yeah. Doesn't relate it to the language. Okay, it's 12 minutes and I'm already finished. I don't know, maybe I have to say something else. I have a few minutes. Now I'm going to Innovational Cultural Center to listen to lectures. And well, I don't know what to say about these lectures. It's already, we already got through 2/3 of the course, so there's only 8 lectures, or it's actually 4 lectures, but since we watch one lecture in 2 weeks, because it's long, 2 hours, we need to split it on 2. It's like 8 events, and quite soon we are going to finish this course and start a new one. Yeah, well, these lectures are actually amazing, because well, when you need motivation. But now I don't need motivation. For me, they're not so amazing. But I remember how they helped me to, you know, to focus on studying and learning 3 years ago, or 2 years and a half, and it was so, it's like it was so brilliant. I felt so powerful. Well, now I feel the same, but now again there is some problem, and this problem I need to find a way to solve it, because well, I would like to, you know, to focus on something and do it, as I said, for a long time. I don't like to be interrupted by, you know, little things, and I can achieve something serious. I mean, like results, if I focus on walking and talking and developing this exercise, and if I have an opportunity to do it every day, for just a couple of times. It's like to play 2 games, let's say 15 minutes. Well, and well, and also if I have like, let's say 5 hours free for learning, I mean, I have enough energy to well, usually I have energy for 10 hours, but the point is that, see, this damn tinnitus makes me anxious and threatens my health, my mental health. So if I find a way to solve these problems, like ideally I would do walking and talking like an hour every day, at least an hour, like 4 walking and talking, and it's like 5 hours for studying, like for reading and watching lectures on the internet, and it's like a year, and a year of that work, I can't even imagine what may happen during that year. So I'm not talking about language, like I know my language already is better than I expected, but it's not about language, it's about, you know, thoughts, it's about art and self-expression. I mean, I can make a super, you know, profound content. Like, well, on the internet, it's like I'm trying to find something like that. That's the point. What I'm doing is like it's the same as what I'm trying to find. On the internet, I always find the information which can, you know, which can help me to, you know, what? To figure out what's going on in the world, and well, which can, it's like, I don't know how to describe it, and I think I need to finish here.